What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the JuiceBox presented by Lock City. It's Wighty and Munz here today. I hope you're all having a great week, and I hope you've all had the opportunity to cash out with us, especially over these last couple of days in our premium tier. Today we have episode number 66 of the JuiceBox, which is going to be an outlook into the upcoming UFC 315 event this weekend in Montreal, Quebec at the Bell Center. I think it's at the Bell Center. But before we get into it, just a reminder that you can join our premium tier Discord, wap.com/lockcity for only $5 a month. This gets you access to every cheat sheet every day across all major active sports, access to premium picks from all 9 of our pro cappers, and tons of sport-specific and stat-specific data points on a daily basis to help you become a better sports bettor. I feel like we say this almost every time we hop on the pod now. I said it yesterday, I think, on the CS2 pod, but we've been absolutely cashing out in the premium tier. This week in my channel, we're up 29.75 units or $2,975 if we want to talk dollars. I've got a ton of MLB plays locked and loaded for tonight. The max play of the day is 5-1 through the first 6 days, up 11.06 units or $1,106. We've been smashing the Thunder Pick CS2 pick of the day. We currently have a $10,000 to $10,000 challenge running right now where we try and double our money every day for 10 days to turn $10 into $10,000. And of course, I'm only one of 9 pro cappers in there giving out daily content every day. So we do daily picks, we have daily projections for all major sports, and of course, our Lock City cheat sheets that we're running daily for a ton of different sports and prop markets. It's pretty insane that we offer all of this for 16 cents a day or $5 a month, but we believe that everyone should have access to important sports data points, and we're focused on building a community of like-minded bettors more so than profit. We're not going to charge you $50 a week like all these other guys. You can get better results only paying 16 cents a day at wap.com/lockcity. But let's get into what we're here for, the UFC 315 event this weekend in Montreal, Quebec. We have Belal Muhammed and Della Maddalena for the main title fight. We actually have 2 title fights coming up this weekend. Munz, how you feeling about this?
I'm excited, man. I'm really excited for this card. I know a lot of people like to hate on Belal Muhammad, but I always get excited to see him fight. I think he's a well worthy fighter to be the champion of this division. So yeah, I'm excited. Let's get into it. Let's dive into this main card here.
All right.
So the first fight, we got a bit of a replacement here. We got Benoit Saint-Denis versus Kyle Prepolec, I believe is how you pronounce his name. So Benoit's coming into this one with a record of 13-3-0. He's 5-3-0 in the UFC, 3-2 in his last 5 fights, coming off 2 straight KO TKO losses. He has 13 wins by finish, 4 by KO TKO, and 9 by submission. Kyle Prepolec is coming into this one with a record of 18-8-0. He's making his return to the UFC after going 0-2 on his first attempt on the roster. He is, although 4-1 in his last 5 fights, he's currently on a 3-fight win streak, and he has 14 wins by finish, 10 KO TKOs, and 4 by submission. If we look at the tail of the tape, Benoit holds the significant reach advantage, a slight height advantage, and I believe he is 6 years younger than Kyle. I want to take the guy from my hometown. Kyle is from my hometown, my home city. He very well could do it, but I see this. He's coming into this one off a very, very last minute. I think maybe less than a week notice. So I see this kind of as a big setup for Benoit to get a win, get him back into his groove after those 2 KO TKO losses. Like I said, anything can happen, but right now I'm sitting with the heavy favorite. I don't even think lines are available on FanDuel for Benoit Saint-Denis in this one.
Yeah, I'd agree. This fight, like you said, by far the most lopsided odds-wise on the entire main card. And it's a shame because, like you said, again, Kyle Prepolec is from Windsor, where we live and grew up. But unfortunately for him, he's going to get absolutely dismantled here by Benoit Saint-Denis. Prepolec hasn't fought in the UFC since 2019 when he lost 2 decisions. He went 0-2 with the promotion. And since then, 5 of his last 7 fights have either been canceled or he's been pulled out of and they've had to reschedule because of injury. And he hasn't fought anyone even remotely known in a fairly long time. So Benoit Saint-Denis, I think, wins this fight 10 times out of 10, as evidenced by the fact, if you can find odds anywhere, they were like minus 1,100. But most books aren't even offering it because of how lopsided it's going to be. We'll take that for the purpose of call the card if you can throw it on there. But I haven't been able to find any methods for this fight. I love betting methods, but I haven't been able to find any markets for this. I think consensus is just he's going to knock him out or submit him probably in the first round.
Yeah, definitely. And the odds for that probably on double chance would be like minus five, 600 or something crazy like that. So definitely
Yeah.
want to stay away
Agreed.
from. Just it's not worth it value wise. But if you want to make $10 off 100 or a buck off 100, go ahead and find odds for Benoit St. Denis. Okay, moving on here. We have Alexa Grasso versus Natalia Silva. Alexa Grasso is coming into this one with a record of 16-4-1, being 8-4-2 or 8-4-1 in the UFC. She's currently 3-1-1 in her last five, coming off a decision loss to Valentina for the belt in the last fight. She will have a chip in her shoulder on this one to go out and kind of show off, kind of get back into title contention. Not too sure about that. She has 6 wins by finish, 4 KO, TKOs, and 2 by submission. Natalia Silva's coming into this one with a record of 18-5-1, being, I believe she's 6-0-0 in the UFC. She's on a 5-0 streak in her last 5 fights. 12-fight win streak in total. She's got 12 wins by finish, 5 by KO, TKO, and 7 by submission. She hasn't lost since 2018, so she's pretty lethal here. If we look at the tail of the tape, Alexa's got the slight reach and height advantage. The odds have this with Natalia as a pretty heavy favorite, and I believe rightfully so. She's streaking, coming off a nice win against what's her name, Jessica Andrade.
Yep.
She's going up against an Alexa who didn't really show us too much in her last fight. I know there was a lot of talk, but she did not really impress me in the last fight. Yeah, I mean, it can go either the same way for Alexa, unless she really, really sharpened on her skills and she's comes into this one with some fire under her feet. But we have a Brazilian on our hands here, and you guys know me. I'm sticking to my rule. I'm going with Natalia Silva, man. You ain't going against the Brazilians.
I like it. I think that's fair. I was going to say my take might be a bit controversial, but then prior to hopping on for recording, found out you were on the same side, and I really like it here. I think I'm going to go Natalia Silva as well. I think this one and the ladies' title fights are probably two of the harder ones to predict, but this one a little bit easier than the other one. In terms of boxing, I might give the edge to Alexa Grasso, but Grasso isn't as quick as Natalia Silva. Her footwork isn't as clean. Natalia Silva's got really fluid movement. I could see her benefiting from some leg kicks early on to hinder some mobility, maybe allow her the freedom to flow and set up her game a little bit. And even though Silva has big wins over Andrade and Arujo, this is still a little bit of a step up for her. So it's going to be great to see her get this done and get the win here. I think genuinely this is probably going to be like a 29-28 unanimous decision. I could see Grasso definitely winning around, maybe even a split decision, but I agree with you for sure. I really like Natalia Silva here. I think she finds a way to get it done by decision on the scorecards, whether it's 2 rounds to 1 or maybe a 30-27. I think it's around 250 minus 250, so we'll take that on the money line for call the card. I also really like her by decision here at minus 140 for a methods play.
Yeah, I like that a lot too. I don't think that either of these girls are going to get finished. It'll definitely go to decision.
Agreed.
Cool, cool. All right, next up, we got a absolute fan favorite here, Jose Aldo versus Aiemann Zahabi. Uh, Jose's coming into this one with a record of 32-9-0, veteran in the UFC. He's 13-8-0 in the promotion. 3-2 in his last five, coming off a split decision loss to Mario Bautista in his last. He's got 18 wins by finish, 17 KO TKOs and 1 submission. Aiemann Zahabi's coming into this one with a record of 12-0, 6-2 in the UFC. He's 5-0 in his last five, putting him on a 5-fight win streak. He has 8 wins by finishes, 6 KO TKOs, and 2 by submission. If we look at the tail of the tape, though, Aiemann holds the slight height advantage, Jose holding the slight reach advantage, both relatively around the same age at 38 and 37 respectively. So, Jose's 38, and Aimann's 37. So we got a couple old men in here throwing hands. It's definitely going to be an interesting one to see.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one as well. I do think Jose Aldo wins this fight, but I think it's probably going to be a pretty competitive one. Aiemann Zahabi is Canadian and he fights out of Montreal, but when you're fighting Jose Aldo, you're not going to have that same effect in terms of
Yep.
crowd pop in comparison. Like in front of your home crowd, it's going to be probably equal, or you're going to get out crowd pop by Jose Aldo in all likelihood. I think this one's probably going to be a little bit more of a striking bout over the course of 3 rounds. Aldo's got good takedown defense. I think this stays standing unless Jose Aldo decides not to, unless he tries to get some takedowns of his own. He could potentially do that, but otherwise, I think this will be mostly a standing fight. ultimately, I think it's going to be pretty technical. Jose Aldo is a better technical striker, and although we think of Jose Aldo as being old because of how long and legendary his career has been, he's actually only a year older than Aiemann Zahabi. So in theory, because I know Aldo doesn't have a birth certificate either, he could potentially be a little bit older. Nobody really knows, but I'm gonna go Jose Aldo on the money line here. He's the better fighter. He's gonna get the job done here in Montreal. On the money line, it's minus 220, but I like Jose Aldo decision as well. Minus 110, probably a 30-27. Again, maybe a 29-28.
I mean, you never know, man. He could be younger than 38 if he doesn't have a birth certificate. You never know. Don't count that out. But
That's true
regardless,
too.
he's still showing he's got fire under him. He wants it, man. He wants it. Like he's going up against these well-known opponents still. He's putting up good fights. And it's the rule number one: don't go against the Brazilians. So I'm sticking with Jose Aldo too. Give me Jose all day here.
Yeah, I like it. I feel really comfortable about that one.
Yeah. All right, moving on to our co-main event of the evening and a title fight: Valentina Shevchenko versus Manon Fiorot, if I pronounced her last name right. Valentina Bullet is coming into this one with a record of 24-4-1, being 13-3-1 in the UFC. She is 3-1-1 in her last 5, coming off a decision win to Alexa to keep the belt. She has 15 wins by finish, 8 KO TKOs, and 7 by submission. She is also, I believe, the first UFC fighter to fill the belt with all 8 rubies from title defenses. I believe I saw something about that the other day. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I believe that's what I saw. That was something that I did not think was going to happen ever, so very impressive on her. Manon, on the other hand, is coming into this one with a record of 12-1-0, being 7-0-0 in the UFC. She hasn't lost since 2018, giving her a 12-fight win streak and clearly being 5-0 in her last 5 fights. She has 6 wins by finish, which all come from KO TKOs, and she is clearly facing her biggest test yet. Looking at the tail of the tape, Valentina holds the slight reach advantage. Manon holds the slight height advantage. They're relatively around the same age at 37 and 35 respectively. I think it's going to be a very interesting and close one. I can see why the books have Manon as the favorite to win. She's streaking. She's hot. She's on the come up. She wants the belt. So I don't know. It seems like they're setting it up to be a new champion in the women's flyweight division, but I'm not sure. How you feeling?
It's tough to say. This, like I said earlier on the other women's fight, both of these women's fights I think are super hard to predict at first glance. This one, when I dove into it a little bit further, I was still like very back and forth on it. I think ultimately I'm gonna go with Manon Fiorot on the money line for this one. I do love Shevchenko. She's obviously the best of all time, but I just think this is a tough matchup for her where she's not going to be able to necessarily rely on takedowns. Manon Fiorot has a 93% takedown defense, so I think she's going to have to rely predominantly on her striking here over the course of 5 rounds. And I think both of these ladies manage their distance pretty well, but Manon arguably is a little bit more fluid from range, I would say. She has good defense. She keeps moving. I think Shevchenko will try and close the gap, maybe try and pressure wrestle against the cage to try and score a takedown or two. I wouldn't be surprised if she gets a trip in there, gets a couple of takedowns. But I think overall, it's going to be mostly a striking fight. So I'm going to go with Manon on the money line here. Manon Fiorot at minus 150 for call the card. I think decision at plus 125 is a good methods play, but I don't love the odds on it. And then fight to go the distance at minus 280, I think is pretty much a lock as a parlay piece. I don't see either of these ladies getting finished by any stretch of the imagination. And I think it's going to be a really close fight, but ultimately I'm going to go Manon Fiorot, maybe like a 55% confidence.
So my thoughts on this are Manon has only been in one 5-round fight in the UFC thus far. I believe in her career. I could be wrong.
Very fair.
So I'm not going to say she doesn't have the conditioning. Like she clearly does. She went all 5 rounds, I believe, in that one 5-round fight. So she has the conditioning, but she doesn't have the experience, in my opinion. I do think it will be a close fight. We will see a lot of striking. Um, think Valentina will be able to somehow get it onto the floor here, onto the ground and get a couple takedowns in her. Maybe get some ground control there, but I do kind of see her kind of putting on a masterclass for us and defending her belt, getting possibly another ruby added onto that. So yeah, I'm sticking with Bullet. Give me Bullet at plus 118 for this one.
That's fair. I could definitely see it.
It can
Like you
go
said,
either
she's
way.
one of the greats. Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
it can go either
This will
way,
be
man.
a really good fight.
Yeah, it definitely will. It's one to watch for sure. One definitely not to miss. But another one not to miss is the main event coming up. We have Belal Muhammad versus Jack Della Maddalena. Belal Muhammad, remember the name, is coming into this one with a record of 24-3-0, being 17-3-0, 1-0 contest in the UFC. He is 5-0 in his last 5 fights and is on a current 6-fight win streak. He has 6 wins by finish, 5 KO TKOs, and 1 by submission. 5 KO TKOs, just all the haters out there. Jack Della Maddalena is coming into this one with a record of 17-2-0, 7-0 in the UFC, 5-0 in his last 5 fights. I believe he's on a 17-fight win streak. Hasn't lost a fight since 2016. Very impressive there. He has 14 wins by finish, 12 KO TKOs, and 2 by submission. If we look at the tail of the tape, they are the same height. Jack is slightly taller. They have an and he's 8 years younger than Belal. Sorry. Now, Jack has not been in a 5-round fight in the UFC. And like I said about Manon, it's not to say that he isn't conditioned for it. You know, he's relatively young, so shouldn't be any issues there. Despite the hate that Belal gets, they're both very outstanding fighters. And I think that we will see Belal strike a lot more in this one than in previous fights. But I got to stick with the more experienced fighter in this one in 5-round fights. I'm sticking with remember the name Belal Muhammad. Screw to all the haters. Screw you all. He's defending the belt.
I think so too. This fight is kind of like the Ian Gary fight for me a couple of weeks ago. Mind you, I don't have nearly the same level of distaste for Belal that I do for Ian Gary. I just think he's kind of boring, which you know, but I do have a lot of respect for his game, obviously, and his fight style. I ultimately don't care who wins this, I don't think, but I just hope it's an entertaining fight. I think it will be. I saw on Twitter that Belal said he's going to stand and bang with JDM here for 5 rounds and not attempt any takedowns, which I think is kind of a dumb idea. I'd love to see him try to not win off of 18 minutes of control time, but I think it would be incredibly dangerous to get in like a 5-round striking war with Jack Della Maddalena, regardless of how your chin is currently. And Belal's obviously got a great chin. One thing about Belal, though, he is obviously consistent. He has a style of fighting that's relatively safe. And I think if he stays to a good game plan, he obviously wins this. I don't think I can take Jack Della Maddalena here on the what if factor, both in terms of if Belal stands and bangs for 5 rounds, which I don't think he's going to do. I think he's probably just saying that. And also, if he catches him with a perfect punch, that's too many what ifs. I think the safe bet here is obviously Belal Muhammad. And I think this fight probably goes the distance.
Fight is most definitely going the distance. Belal is not going to stand up and throw fists for 5 rounds, but we will definitely see a lot more striking than usual from him. I can say that. I saw a clip of him throwing striking. His coach kind of comparing him to Canelo, which is a bit absurd, but yeah, I think that we will see a lot more striking from him in this one. It will be a more entertaining than his previous, or he comes in and just humps the ground for 5 rounds straight. Regardless, like we both said, Belal Muhammad money line, I believe minus 188 are the odds for that.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, minus 188. And yeah, I don't know. I think he could surprise us maybe with a finish if Maddalena tries to like jump a gilly or something and gets ground and pounded on a positional change.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think, like you said, this has Belal Muhammad decision written all over for it to retain the welterweight title.
I would have to agree, brother. I would have to agree. You got anything else you want to add on this?
JuiceBox Lock. Let's so we both really love Aldo. So Aldo money line, let's throw on there. And then
100%.
the Silva fight, you think is Our next
That's
favorite, or
yeah.
Belal Muhammad on the money line?
I would have to say I'll take Natalia Silva by points at -140. Mix that with Jose Aldo at -1 or -220.
I like it. If
Plus
we had Belal,
149.
it's plus 281.
All straight up.
Yeah, or we should just keep it how it is. That's the lock.
Let's keep it to the 2 legs. I think that's a nice lock. Throw a nice bill or two on it.
Yeah, we'll say 2 units on that, and then if anyone wants to get spicy and toss an extra unit or half unit around, add in Belal Muhammad on the money line. That's going to bring the play up to plus 281, so almost 4 times your money. And I think that's a nice little addition there to hedge your risk.
Yeah, I'm gonna do both. I'm gonna run both for sure.
I like it. Alrighty. Well, I think that's pretty much everything from us here. For those of you that are listening either on YouTube or Spotify, make sure to give us a like. If you are checking this out on Twitter, give us a follow. I don't know if you're looking on the Lock City Twitter or the JuiceBox Twitter, but we do have two on there: LC JuiceBox Pod and _ Lock City. 2 platforms: one JuiceBox podcast predominant one, and then the other one with all of our sport sheets and our free sheets. And then, of course, like we said earlier, we do have a premium tier as well, $5 a month, wap.com/Lock City. Come check us out. We have 9 cappers. We're doing daily cheat sheets every day, daily projections. Ton of fun, ton of money being made. So make sure you don't miss out on that. But yeah, give us a like, give us a comment, subscribe, or follow us depending on the platform. And we look forward to these fights this weekend and seeing you guys in the next one.